Now, back to your turn on 1330 WEBY, Northwest Florida's talk radio. The phone lines are open, so call in and join the conversation at 623-1330.
How can one man bother so many people by simply telling the truth? Freedom Friday with Carl Gallups, the Oval Office of Gulf Coast Talk Radio.
All right, welcome back, America. Carl here, and Brandon Big B is in the studio with me. We're going to try to bring Mike Shoesmith back on. Now, folks, please know and be patient. We may have to end this connection with him, and or we might lose him again, because Mike is in Saskatchewan, actually, and he's on Skype. And, of course, that depends upon the Internet connection, how smooth the transition is in our conversation. And just talking with him on the phone, he went out a few times. But anyway, Mike, welcome back. Let's give this a try. You wanted to go on. You wanted to say something about evolution.
Well, I just had from the moderators on the P.P. Simmons YouTube channel and the people that monitor the email address, etc., that we need to cut back on the number of comments that are being left on the channel with respect to the atheist and evolutionist. Because these guys are busy, you know, our moderators, and they got a lot going on. So it would go help a lot if the evolutionist community would stop leaving comments suggesting that bacteria becoming bacteria is evidence for fish becoming men.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Oh, my gosh.
And, you know, because the gentleman who invented the MRI, a wonderful life-saving device, life-extending device, believes that the universe is 6,000 years old and that fish have never become men. He believes that.
Right.
So the argument here is this person has ignored all the evidence that viruses become viruses.
Right.
So because viruses become viruses and the flu virus changes every year and vaccines have to be tweaked every year to accommodate the changes, this is proof that fish became men. That's right.
That's what evolution says. Yeah.
Well, it does.
That's junk science.
We're just asking that these people just reevaluate the essence of the debate. And the debate is, have fish become men? That is the essence of it all. And
right.
we're not denying the fact that viruses change. You know, it's like if I walk around my house, Carl and Brandon, kitchen to the bathroom to the living room, back to the kitchen. I'm moving around the house. I'm walking from room to room in my house. My ability to walk from room to room in my house is not evidence that I am able to walk to the moon. Right?
Thank you.
I will not be able to walk so I can walk around my house. Just because a virus can mutate and change within its genetic barriers, that does not mean fish became men. Think about this, people. Just because I just got to hit this one more time. Viruses become viruses and bacteria become bacteria. That does not mean that fish became men.
Yes. Well, no, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Mike. And as a matter of fact, I began this show, and I don't know if you heard it up in Saskatchewan or not, but I began the show just going down through a list of things that I believe and I don't believe. I don't believe global warming causes global cooling, and I don't think that global cooling causes global warming, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the things that I said is I also don't believe that fish became men. I don't believe in fish to man, deep time evolution. And the reason I don't believe in that is because, get this, there's not one piece of scientific evidence that indicates that fish became men. And by scientific evidence, I mean scientific method evidence. Scientific method, observable, demonstrated, repeatable, falsifiable. There is not one single piece. If you start telling somebody, prove to me that fish became men, then their answer is, well, viruses change all the time. And what you're saying is, just because a virus becomes a virus and becomes another kind of virus or mutates and becomes another strain of virus does not mean that fish became men. It is pseudoscience to say so, right?
We say, and this is our request. We would like these people to stop sending us the evidence that fish became men. The evidence is viruses became viruses. We'd like people to stop sending us that because it's bogging us down and it's embarrassing. They're embarrassing themselves.
Yeah.
Essentially. So we're saying, so viruses becoming viruses is enough evidence for you that fish became men? And they say, well, why are you bringing up fish became men? Why are you bringing that up? Why are you bringing that up? You know, obviously evolution is real because viruses become viruses. And they're saying, why are you bringing... And we're saying that is the essence of the entire debate.
Right.
We're saying there's no evidence that fish became men. You're saying the evidence for deep time evolution is viruses becoming viruses.
Absolutely.
So when Brandon interviewed Eric Hovind, Eric is simply saying, look, fish became men. That's what we want. And there was even a contest worth $250,000. If somebody would just bring us the evidence that fish became men, not evidence that viruses become viruses or bacteria become bacteria, but that and there was an actual contest put on by Eric and his family, and that no checks have ever been written because nobody has ever been able to show that fish became men. Not that viruses became viruses or bacteria became bacteria. Fish. Let's see the evidence for that. We don't want any more emails, people telling us, well, look, here's evidence for evolution, that viruses became viruses. We don't want to hear that anymore. That is not evidence.
I got you.
Mike, I just have to ask you because I want everybody to be very clear before we move on to the next subject. So are you saying that you don't believe fish became men?
You know what? That is what these kids are being taught in school.
Yeah,
that
I know.
Evidence for them being animals is that fish became men. That is the essence of the debate.
Yeah.
That fish became men.
And you know, and Romans 1 talks about this, Mike. Romans chapter 1, 2,000 years ago, the Apostle Paul, in the spirit of prophecy, said that men gave up. They believed, they substituted a lie for the truth. They denied the glory of God, which is his creative ability. And God gave them over to a delusioned mind, and professing to be wise, they became fools. And people who believe in fish to men, deep time evolution, have become utter fools.
Yep.
And you know, they scratch their heads. They go, well, how could somebody possibly invent the MRI machine if they don't believe that fish became men? How is that even possible?
Right.
Well, it's not, Mike. Obviously, you didn't listen to the Ken Ham-Bill Nye debate because Bill Nye was very clear in telling you that that could not happen without evolution.
Mike.
PPSimmons at live.com, everybody. Do not send me any more emails saying that fish became men because viruses became viruses. Don't do that anymore.
I know. Mike, and you know you're going to get 55 of them in the next minute. Thank you, Mike. God bless you so much. All right, well, folks, you're listening to Freedom Friday. Aren't you glad that you are? Brandon Big B is in the house today. Coming up in the next few seconds is Dr. Grace. She's scheduled to come up. And then, of course, we've got our world-famous producer, Mallory Bardwell. You're listening to Carl Gallups on this Friday afternoon. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We got another hour of this, folks.